Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I just want to read a few verses to you. The Bible is so full of just amazing wisdom. I'm just going to read a few from Proverbs. Do not, my son, give attention to my words, incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life to those that find them and health to all flesh. And then we have, again, Proverbs 12, verses 18. Well, let's start from, he who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness deceit. There is one who speaks like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise promotes health. And one of the things that I want to talk to you today is about health. Heidi was saying that we as Christians, what we do is we put our spiritual lives into a compartment. We put our home lives in another compartment. We put our health in another compartment, and we just compartmentalizes. I can't say it. Compartmentalizes categories of our lives. Why? You know, why don't we talk about sex from the pulpit? You know, why don't we just get to the nitty-gritty? Why do we sort of like skirt around these things that are absolutely fundamental? So don't worry, I'm not going to talk about sex, but I will do. Not today, but I will do. Because, you know, it's important. But what I really want to do is I want to speak about health. I want to speak about your health and my health. Yesterday morning, I mean, this is completely... I've just read out some scriptures how health is really important in the Bible, and especially with words that we say. So the words that I'm going to say today are going to promote in you a healthy attitude, a healthy body, something that, why wait until January? Why wait till January to then sort of like say, oh, I'm going to lose X amount of pounds, you know, and I, for one, I'm going to use myself. I don't want to talk about myself, but I don't want to pick on anybody else. So I'm going to talk about myself. It's easier to take the mickey out of me than to take the mickey out of you. Now, my background before I'm doing what I'm doing now, I went to university for 4 years. I did sports science, exercise physiology. I did outdoor education. I did PE, physical education, and I did history. It was a full-time 40 to 50 hours a week at university. How they do it today, I've got no idea, condensing what I did into 3 years. However, I am going to speak out of my knowledge, a little bit of my knowledge, to help you. Because, listen, can I just be honest with you? Can I be really honest? I said it at the beginning. Here we are wanting to send some money out to people in Uganda because they haven't got enough to eat. Here in the West, we eat too much. And I'm telling you now, you know what Heidi said was absolutely right. We can't just say in these last days, we're going to put the spiritual there and we're going to work on everything else in different compartments. Because I am very much of the sort of mindset of we have got to show God that we're doing enough for ourselves to prove to him that we're serious about this. In other words, storing the food. If I'm just saying, well, God's going to look after me and I do nothing, what's that telling God? Now, if I then say, okay, Lord, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to start storing away food so I've got enough for a set amount of weeks or months, then I'm going to have to depend on you because I've got nothing else. That's a healthy attitude. Why did Elisha get chosen by Elijah? Read the story. Read the story. What? Because listen, Elijah had a school of prophets. So why didn't he take his top pupil, his top star, and make him the next man of God, the prophet? Why did he pick Elisha and then try to get rid of him? Go away. You could do that if you want, but I'm going on. No, I'm following you, Elisha. That's what Elisha's attitude. But what got God's attention on Elisha? Well, I'll tell you from the Bible. Elijah found Elisha in the field, plowing with 12 oxen. Impossible. Impossible for one man to use 12 oxen. Now, we don't know whether Elisha was actually plowing with 12 oxen. It was more likely he was probably helping others, but it got God's attention. That he was doing something in the physical that would have an alteration in the spiritual. Do you follow me? So Elijah then threw on his mantle. We know the story. Elisha then becomes the next prophet, and great power and signs and wonders came out of Elisha. So I believe that we've got to do things in the physical, because what you connect in the physical with, you will connect in the spiritual. Now, we've got to do and maintain. I had the Lord say to me a few weeks ago, and this is what really prompted me. When the Lord said, Andy, it's going to be accountable to you if you die of a heart attack before fulfilling everything that I've called you to do, because you haven't looked after yourself. Now, I'm not boasting. I work out. Heidi will be my witness. I work really hard. Really, really hard. I mean, I'm going to talk about it. I try to work 4 to 5 times a week, and it's high intensity interval training. So I, from my sports science background, there are 5 components of energy. 5 components. You don't have to list them. You've got power, you've got strength, you've got lactic, you've got power, strength, lactic, anaerobic, and aerobic. Those are your 5 energy systems. So therefore, in your fitness and what you do, you've got to work all 5 areas. You've got to work on the lactic, the burning in your muscle, so it doesn't burn as long and as hard, and that you get rid of it quicker. Going up mountains, when you get that burning, right, that's lactic. When you're cycling, you get that burning in your legs, that's lactic. So that's an energy system. It's a good energy system, but you have to train for it. You have to train for your power. Ladies, please listen to me. You need to be doing resistance training, and I'll say it down the camera. Ladies and men, you need to be doing resistance training. It's good for your bone density, and it's incredibly healthy. What? Well, I'll come to it. So, also, you are meant to be able to lie on your back and put weight across your chest on a barbell and lift your body weight for 1 repetition. That's power. Lift your body weight for 1. I am 63 years old and I can still do it. That's because I've maintained it. For squatting, you put a barbell on your shoulders and you squat, you should be able to do 2 of double your body weight. I'm just telling you, this is, so professional athletes and rugby players, let's use a rugby player, do this all the time. They use the power, then they do strength work, which is resistance. So it's doing repetitions. And there's lots of scientific evidence where if you do lots of reps, you lift more. So say you put 20K on there and you do 15, how many times have you lifted the 20K? 15 times. 15 times 20 is what? Come on. 15 times 20. $15 times 300. So you've just lifted 300 kilograms. 300 kilograms, 15 times. But do that 5 times, you've done 1.5 tons. So it's all doable. You just do lots more repetitions and a little bit less of weight. That's strength training. So when you get to the age of 70 and you see some old people that can't get out of a chair, that's because they haven't maintained their strength. At 50 years, listen to me, at 50 years old, and especially when you get to 60, if you are going into your 60s at 60% of your strength in your legs and your arms, etc., every 5 years you lose 10%. So by the time you get to 80, that's why some people can't get out of a chair. And I know that I'm talking to some people who can get out of chairs in their 70s. But the importance of it is, especially ladies, osteoporosis in your bone density. You've got to do strength training. You've got to do it. Now, we did a session here yesterday, didn't we? I just set out really simply for 7 of us around this at the back of the hall there. I set out 6 areas that were all hitting different parts of the body. We were doing core, we were doing stomach, we were doing legs, we were doing arms, we were doing aerobic, anaerobic, lactic, we were doing it all. Skipping, coordination, we were doing it all. I mean, my friend over there, Grazian, skipping. I thought I was doing really well because I look like a right plonker when I skip. I'm not like, no, I'm I thought I was doing really well at 35. Right? Oh. I thought I was doing well at 35, and so Gretchen says, how many did you do, 70, 80? About 80. I mean, Karen, Jojo, and then Jojo on the shuttle runs, but, we worked hard, didn't we? It was hard work, wasn't it? Yes. But do you know how long we worked for? 20 minutes. The whole session took 24 minutes. It's called HIIT, high intensity interval training. You burn more calories for a lot longer after you finish a HIIT session than running for an hour on a treadmill at a low pace. You won't burn as many calories. That's why it's called high intensity interval training. It's better for you. It isn't taking the strain of your bones and on your muscles, etc., because it's short, it's concise, and that's what it's meant to be. It's the easiest way of getting fitter. So we're going to do another session next week, but I got them to take photographs because there wasn't anything that we couldn't do out there that you can't do in your living room, apart from the shuttle runs. But you can run on the spot or heel kicks up to your bum or whatever, or there, or alternative. So there's different exercises you can do. So we did it, but then I've gone to a few of the folk because I want to shed some weight. So I did the homework. I went back to my old sports science days and I dug up some things that have been lost and just put to one side. So I dug them up. I'm going to help you. Really simply. Listen, can I just tell you, ladies, diets do not work. Simple as. End of. Diets do not work. You've got to go into calorie deficit. What does that mean? In other words, you burn calories, you burn more calories than you consume. That's called calorie deficit. So if you're burning calories during the day and you're not consuming the same amount of calories, you're going to lose weight. It's a real simple thing to do. So, how many calories do you think during a week? You're going to have to make notes. I'm telling you now, I warned Richard and Jojo, you need to get some pens and paper out and make some notes. Or you can replay this and play it back. But to burn 1 pound of fat, how many calories do you think you're going to have to lose in a week? 1 pound of fat. A really simple thing is 3,500 calories for 1 pound of fat. That's a lot of calories. So you work on the assumption of you're going to have a calorie deficit of 500 calories a day. That's 7 times 500, 3,500 calories. So a healthy way to lose weight is 2 pounds a week. So that's a 7,000 calorie deficit. Cut out sugar. Number one, stay away from fizzy drinks, chocolate, sugar. However, you're allowed to have a cheat day. My thing is, I like having a glass of wine in the evening with Heidi, and we chat about the day. I like that. Or like Steve, finishing a hard week and nipping down to the pub for a couple of beers. That's okay. You can have those days. But what I've started doing is this. I've combined the spiritual with the physical. So I fasted. I don't have anything to eat all the way through the day until after 6 o'clock. It's the Penelope fast. I know Penelope's watching, but it's the Penelope fast. There are different ways of fasting. So I did 4 days of that this week. I didn't eat anything in the morning, anything at lunch. I have a protein shake. I get some whey protein. Don't go down to the supermarkets. There are cheaper ways of, there's good protein stuff out there. Don't go down to the supermarket. They charge you a fortune. There are different ways of doing it. So I have a protein shake, and I'm going to talk about protein because it's essential to what we're doing. So how many calories do you work at in your metabolic rate? It's called basal, B-A-S-A-L, basal metabolic rate. In other words, how many calories do you burn during the day just to keep your body going? You have to calculate it. Because unless you know your basal, then you're not going to know your active or your TEE, your total energy expenditure, TEE, or your AMR, your active metabolic rate. And to do that, you have to do some calculations. And it gets a little bit complicated. But then, folks, here is one thing. Muscle burns more calories than fat. Muscles. So if you are doing your resistance training, you're doing your core, and you're building up muscle, that muscle is going to burn more calories. So therefore, it's going to affect your body more. Muscle weighs more than fat. Fiber is denser than tissue. Your fat is tissue, your fiber is muscles. So you need to be doing exercise to put more muscle on. You don't have to be a massive bulking, you just need to be in shape. You need to have that tricep that you can see through, those wobbly arms. I can do your skin fold testing to work out how much fat you've got in your body. And I've done it so much in the lab that I can look at people and say, I bet you're about here, and I'll be within 3% of how much body fat you've got on you. And it's really easy to do. However, you always go into a weight loss plateau. In other words, one day, like I weigh myself on a Monday morning, in the same what I would do, so I don't drink anything, I don't eat anything, I just get on the scales on a particular day. But then I can see I've worked really hard and I've lost no weight. That's called weight plateau. And you can weigh yourself 1 week and then put on 5 pounds. It's just your body composition. It's just, you're putting on more muscle, you're losing the fat, so measure yourself as well as weigh yourself. But you can fluctuate between 5 pounds. Fluctuate. So say I was 95k, which is what I am. My fighting weight should be around about 86k. 84 would be great. So I've got to lose about 10k. I work out already, but now I'm put all this together, I'm thinking I'm eating too many calories. I'm putting too many calories and not consuming. So I've upped my expenditure, I've upped my training, and I'm now doing 5 real intense sessions a week, over 6 hours a week. And finished yesterday on 24 minutes. I was tired. You will be tired, but you have to be dedicated. You have to get some discipline into you. So don't crack open the energy drinks. Absolute. Why put 300 calories into your body which you don't need? They're empty calories. And all there is, the sugar on them, just goes straight into fat storing. They're absolutely useless. Drink a cup of coffee. Caffeine is good. Caffeine, not overdose, but caffeine is good. But I want to talk a bit about your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. How do you calculate it? Well, this has been around, this is how long it's been. I'm sorry if this is boring for some people, but I want you to grasp this, because if you don't grasp it, folks, here is one thing. When you decrease your food intake, it lowers your metabolic rate. So this is why if you go to Weight Watchers and you're not exercising, it's a waste of time. Your body needs calorie intake. It needs it. If you decrease that, it lowers your metabolic rate. Do you follow me? So stop wasting your £5 every week going to Weight Watchers. Do this. I'm telling you now, it will work. Tell you something for nothing, it will work. So I want you now to get a piece of paper out and a phone with a calculator, and I'm going to give you how I've worked out. Now you might have to go back and listen to this again. But I am deadly serious about losing weight. So I'm going to be held accountable to you. And I'm accountable to my friend Steve and Karen. We are going to be doing this together, and everybody that turned up yesterday. So I want you to work out your own basal metabolic rate. Are you ready? This is called the Harris-Benedict formula. This has been around since 1918. That long. And we still, if you open up your science books, as in your sports science, exercise physiology, this formula will be in it. So it's been revised. So I'm using the revised Harrison-Benedict formula. It's different to men, so I'm going to do the men's first. And then I'll do the ladies. Ladies, you need to work out your height in centimeters and your weight in kilograms. So my height is, I used to be 5'11", but I've shrunk. I'm now 5'10", so I'm 178 centimeters. My weight fluctuates it can be up to 1 or 2K a week. But I'm taking my measurement at 95 kilograms. So just go on your phone. I'm going to give it to you in a minute, Richard. Don't. So you have to calculate your kg and you have to calculate your cm. Yes? Are you ready? Men, this is what I want you to do. You have to have a piece of paper, because I'm going to give you the formula, then I'm going to tell you how to do it. Because male, it's 8.4. Don't put this in. You'll get it wrong. Promise you. 8.4 plus 13.4 times by your weight in kg. Then you go plus 4.8 times your height in cm minus 5.68 times your age. That's your formula. Okay, this is how to do it. So, 13.4 times your weight. Right? Girls, it is, for girls, it is 447.6. Oh no, forget that. It is 9.25 times by your kg. Times, you're going to need a piece of paper, folks, to write this down. Put the equals, drop it down into a column. Because you have to do your times, this is basic maths, you have to do your times before you do your pluses and minuses. BODMAS. So you have to do your times first. Then you want to know your height. So then you go 4.8 times your height in centimeters. So my 4.8 was times by 178 centimeters, 5'10". Okay, for ladies, it is 3.10 times your height in centimeters. Put that answer down. Then you've got to work out your age. Now, I got this, I worked out Steve's and I worked out Karen's, but I had to try and remember their ages, so I might have got this wrong. 21 again, for the 13th time. So, no. So, I'll do mine. So I took my age, so it's 4.68 then, times your age. 4.68 times your age. For ladies, it is 4.33 times your age. Okay, so you've got those three answers of the times. Now we're going to do the pluses and the minuses. So this is what it will look like. So 8.4 plus your weight. This is men. 8.4 plus whatever answer you got on the 13.4 times your weight. Then the next by it is you go plus the answer that you got from the 4.8 in height. Bring that down, because then you're going to add those together. Told you it was complicated. Minus the calculation you did for the 5.68 times your age. Minus. So mine looks like this, folks. It's 8.4 plus 1,219.44. And then I go plus 830.4 minus 238.56, and my answer comes out to 1,871 calories, 0.36. That's all I need at rest, my calories, at rest, per day. So I burn that at rest without doing anything. 1,800 calories. So you can see why you need to get the calorie intake. Right, your basal metabolic rate. You need to know why it's... So to get your active, or your TEE, your total energy expenditure, or your active metabolic rate, then you take your basal metabolic rate, that one you've just got, and you put a times there, and you times it by the amount of activity you do. So if you are a couch potato, you will times it by 1.2. So if I was a couch potato, I'd take that 1,800 and something calories, and I would times it by 1.2 to get my active metabolic rate. Yes? If you have a light week, in other words, you train 1 to 3 times a week, that's very light. So walking the dogs, that's a light thing. That's not active, but it's light. You would times it, your basal metabolic rate, by 1.375. If you do a moderate activity week, 3 to 4 exercises of moderate, not intense, but moderate, then your basal metabolic rate would be times by 1.55. If you're really active, so this is the calculation I've used, so I'm doing a lot of hits, I'm doing strength work, I'm doing power, I'm doing all of these other things, then I would times it by 1.725. An extreme professional athlete who is training consistently 6 plus times a week, they would be at 1.9. I haven't met anybody, unless they're a professional rugby player, athlete, they're doing this full-time job, then they would times it by that. So I'm using my calculation. So I took my 1,867 calories per day, and then I times it by 1.725. My total energy expenditure, or my active basal metabolic rate, was now 3,221 calories. So now I know what I have to work to. I need to lose 1 pound a week. I need to drop off 3,000 calories from that 500 calories from that 3,000 calories a day. It's simple. I'm allowed, with my active lifestyle, I am allowed to eat and consume 3,221 calories a day. Now, if I want to lose a pound, I'm going to cut off 500 calories. So that's my lunch. Having a lunch will consume around about 600 to 700 calories a day. So now I'm bringing the spiritual in. So I'm going to say, okay, this week I'm going to use the John Wesley or the Wesley brothers. I'm going to do their fasting. 3 times a week, I don't eat anything until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Or I'll do the Penelope one. I won't eat anything until after 6 o'clock. I've cut out, just by doing that, probably 800 calories. I maintain it by drinking lots of this. 3 to 4 liters of water a day. If you're not drinking that, you're dehydrated. And it makes you grumpy, it makes you horrible, it makes you angry, you get, ugh. Just drink more water. Not tea, not coffee, more water with a bit of juice in it. Especially if you are fasting. So I fasted because a friend of mine needs help. And it got to me, it really affected me this week when I found out, my friend's in trouble. And I thought, right, that's it, I'm going to fast for him. 4 days this week. I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to fast again. So I'm now bringing in the spiritual. I'm going to fast. I pray for him, every day. I'm asking the Lord to restore and to heal, etc., etc. We want the power, don't we? Well, how's that going to happen unless you fast? So bring in the physical now into the spiritual and combine the two together. Yes? Now, I will put the formula down, or you can go and internet it. There are great points out there. Just put in basal metabolic rate. How do you calculate it? Because it is there for the women and for the men. I'm going to do Steve and Karen's afterwards because I've worked it out. I've already done it for them. So folks, it's really important that you know it. I will help anybody here. If you bring me your stats, I will do it for you today. So it's great when I see a 17-year-old running backwards and forwards and maintaining. It's another great thing when I feel I'm 63 but feel like I'm 26. I don't feel 63. I don't want to look 63. I want to get rid of this, but behind it, it's muscle. Yeah. Rich, I will prod you, and then you prod me, and we'll see who squeals. He'll squeal like a baby. So folks, it's really, really important because the hormone responsible for your metabolic rate that determines your BMR is a thyroid hormone called T3 and T4. You don't have to learn that. That's just a bit of basic exercise physiology. Yeah. So it's called TSH because it's your thyroid stimulating hormone. It's vital. It's what happens is it binds to your T3 and T4, binds to your mitochondria, and the mitochondria is your power cell. Without it, you have got no energy release whatsoever in your body because it produces ATP, aniline triphosphate. It's ATP. It's the energy cell because the ATP combines with the glucose, goes to your cells, breaks, and the energy is released. So if you're not stimulating that hormone and you're not building that hormone and the receptors of the mitochondria, that's why you can't get out of your chair. You can't get up in the morning. You've got no energy. So you have to, basically your ATP increases the glucose like the proper sugar that's in your body, and use it that helps it for the transportation and use of energy. That's basic, simple way of saying it. So, your metabolic rate is how your body uses food or calories, either that you consume or have stored. Simple. So boosting your metabolic rate is done by having a balanced diet, exercise in your home or in a gym, wherever you feel, increased movement, absolutely vital, and even a bit of caffeine absolutely helps. Absolutely helps. So, there are 6 natural ways of boosting your metabolic rate. There's one working it out, but here it is. This is how to do it. Eat enough calories. You've got to consume the calories to burn calories. Simple. Eat enough calories. This is why diets do not work, ladies. You starve yourself, you do all your calorie counting, you're saying, right, but you do no exercise. So what happens is that you starve yourself, you lose lots of weight very quickly, that then you're training your body to literally, I'm in deficit. So when you start eating again, guess what happens to your food? Because you've now lowered your metabolic rate, you're not burning the calories, it gets put back into storage. Gets put straight away into storage. That's why the fat goes back on. Because you've got to trick your body. And there's ways of doing it. So you must eat enough calories. Exercise, especially resistance training and HIIT. Don't go on a treadmill for an hour or 45 minutes. Do 1 minute hard, 1 minute rest. And that means you do it to your fitness. If you, just by walking 1 minute at a quickening pace and then take 1 minute rest, that's fine. Because in a few weeks' time, you do overload. And overload is you then jog for 1 minute and you walk for 1 minute recovery. And then a few weeks later, you put more overload on it. You're going at a faster rate jogging, and now you're walking faster on your recovery rate because your heart rate's going down. It's really simple science. So, you need to do your BMR calculation. That's number 3. You need to eat a balanced diet. I'm going to talk about protein in a minute, and then here endeth the science lesson. You need to eat enough calories. You need to have a balanced diet. You need to exercise. But you also must eat more protein. This is what the people in the shops don't tell you. They want you to consume quick and fast meals. They want you to consume the ready meals, but they've got hardly any calorific balance to it. It's all full of sugar. In fact, you eat it, and half an hour later you're hungry again. Why? Because you're not eating the protein. Here it is. The macronutrients, such as protein, carbs, and fats, require different amounts of calories to be digested. And this is called the thermic effect of food. Thermic effect of food, the TEF. So, if you eat protein, the thermic effect of that food that you've just eaten, you have to burn 30 to 40 more calories by eating protein. I'll give you the thermic of fat. Do you know how many calories you have to burn to get, to the fat you've just eaten is literally 0 to 3% thermic effect of food, or that fat that you've just eaten. You hardly burn any calories. You burn more calories if you eat protein. So then if you have carbohydrates, the thermic effect of a carbohydrate is going anything from 5% to 10% burning the calories. Thermic effect of food. So if you're burning 20 to 30% more eating protein, what do you want to eat more of? Protein. What do you want to eat less of? Fat. But a certain amount of fat is very healthy. Your brain needs help. There's different, So increasing your protein consumption from 15 calories to 30 calories a day will have a greater impact on the maintenance of your muscles, growing muscle. Don't forget, muscle gives you strength. right? So it's important to maintain the muscle, to grow the muscle. You then promote fat loss. This promotes, eating more protein promotes fat loss. It decreases the overall caloric intake for the day, decreases it, because you're taking 20 to 30% more to burn that protein that you've just eaten. So this is why I'm saying, decrease the carbohydrate. Don't take it off, just decrease it. Cut out sugar. Forget about the biscuits, forget about the wine gums, forget about any of that sugar rubbish, right? And protein, folks, if you eat more protein, it's more satisfying. It makes you feel fuller for longer. So grab hold of the meat, grab hold of the eggs. Instead of having your cereal of whatever, you know, apart from porridge is about the only one I would eat. Porridge is really good for you. It's a slow release energy of carbohydrate. It's slow release. Chocolate is a simple carbohydrate. It's fast release. So you can eat chocolate, and then it goes down as quick. So sugar is just rubbish. Forget it. So protein is the most satisfying, and you feel the full effect of it. Eat more protein. So cut down on the pasta that you have with your mince. Eat more mince, put more vegetables, put your spinach in it, you know, make it a balanced diet. Eat your cheese, your full fat cheese. Right? Listen, please, full fat milk is better than semi-full fat milk. Drink full fat milk. Forget about all this crap that the supermarkets tell you. Get this, fat-free this, fat... Baloney. Baloney. You can see I am... So, the benefits, right? To give you an idea, to work out how much protein you put in your body, just put 0.8 grams times by your weight, and that will give you your protein intake. 0.8 grams per kilogram. However, if you are exercising, you need more. You need more protein because it maintains and repairs, makes you feel fuller, longer, and it satisfies you. You burn more by 30% than eating the same amount of fat. So, I've just put this down. A 75K person needs about 60 grams of protein a day. But I'm telling you, you probably put that to 80 grams per day if you're exercising. And the great thing is, protein, it helps transport all your vital vitamins and minerals about your body. To go to the muscle, repair it, build it, etc., etc. And it takes longer to digest. So this is why you feel fuller for longer. So you see, just, I'm sorry if this isn't your Sunday morning, you want, you know, yeah, I want a spiritual uplift. But folks, we need to get fit. We're a flippant society of fatties. I'm serious. You know, and I'm not talking, you know, listen, you can be a bodybuilder. And I always use this. You can be a bodybuilder. Your body looks good on the inside because you've done lots of that. But what about the engine? What about the heart? You might look good on the outside, but your engine on the inside is rubbish. And you're heading for a heart attack because you're eating all the wrong stuff. You're not maintaining that. You're not doing the anaerobic and the aerobic. You're not doing your lactic. You're doing your strength work and your power work because you want to look good. But folks, you know, doing the right exercise is vital. Yeah, I will do, yeah. So, folks, I'm really serious, and I'm making myself accountable to you because in a month's time, I'm going to give you my weight. So I've started off at 95 kg. That's my body weight at the moment. I'm going to lose weight over these next few months. I'm not going to wait till January. I want a head start. That doesn't mean that I can't eat at Christmas what I want to do. It just means I have to get out there and exercise more. The benefits of exercise, folks, is vital. And you don't need equipment. Get resistance bands if you can't get to a gym. If you've got weights, then great. Use them at home. Stop wasting your £30 down the gym each month that you don't use. Richard. No. I know, it's a joke, Richard. It's a joke. But I don't use a gym. I've got my own personal gym that I just work at home, and it's simple. That Heidi works from home, ish. But I went out for a dog walk yesterday after doing the session. Yesterday was my 5th hard session of the week. I could hardly walk. My legs are tired. So what do? I take supplements. I take perfect amino acids, which is a protein. You make 21%. There's 21 amino acids. Sorry, 20. You can only eat 9 of those. You've got to take another one by supplements by another 11 amino acids. It's great for protein. This is why I take a few of those just to boost my protein in me, my amino, so it repairs. So supplements, I do take supplements to help and maintain, to give me that. Yes, you do pee stuff out, and and I get all that, but I still take it because it's vital. I'm 63, and my job is to stand before the Lord and say, Lord, I know that I want to look like Caleb and Joshua when they're in their 80s, as strong as they were in their youth, and look what they did. But if I'm just being a couch potato and putting on the pounds, I'm expecting God to do it all. Guess what? He'll hold that accountable to me. And he'll hold it accountable to you. Listen, we're not going to be able to buy or sell. We will start losing weight. I mean, I fear when I went to America. I fear. Honestly, I'm slim. I am slim. There was a family eating in a breakfast bar that Troy, myself, and Alex and a couple of the other guys were having breakfast there. And I couldn't believe this family. I mean, the dad needed 2 chairs to sit on. And the child, was probably 12. That was double my size. Folks, I'm real about this. And the Bible talks a lot about gluttony. A lot about gluttony. So let's do something about it. Let's do something about it. Let's be accountable to each other. Let's, take care of ourselves. And I know lots of you want to do it. So when this camera's gone, I'm going to be speaking to the folk here of how we can do it. Don't just turn up on the 1 day a week. Maintain it on the other 3 days a week. So you do 4 sessions a week. Just start doing that. Steve's got an incredibly hard job. He's on his feet most of the day. However, he needs to boost his metabolism. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. So I'm going to start really pushing this. And it's given me a prompting. I started a book all about this, how to do it. And I've just let it flip and gather dust. I'm going to pick it up and finish it because I want to get this message out. And I feel the church needs it. And we're going to need it. Folks, I want to be full of strength. I want to be Caleb and Joshua. But if I'm not doing my part, then how can I expect God to do his part? And my mum is 94 years old. And until last year, she was doing exercise every day, simple exercises. I was just saying, Mum, this is how you do it. Just step in and out of the chair 10 times a day, 10 squats a day. Go on a chair and just do little dips. Go to a wall, do little this. And she started doing it. But she's always been very, very fit. In her 80s, she was taking fitness classes. She swam every day in the sea. Now, old age has caught up on her and the bones, but I pray for her. But she's 94 years old. She was the fittest 93-year-old I ever knew. She had no problems walking down a hill, go into Dawlish, do her shopping, bring her shopping bags back up the hill. Because she maintained it. I've got her genes in me. Now, if I grow to 18 odd stone, my height, Guess what? Type 2 diabetes. Do you know what we spend more money on in the NHS is people that are overweight, with all the complications with being overweight. That's when 70% of the NH money goes to, is to obesity. Come on, folks, let's do something. Let's be the healthiest. And if we want God to do healing in this place, then let us start healing our bodies. Yes? So anyway, Father, I thank you for your word. I thank you, Lord, that you have created us unbelievably with all of this science, that when you said, let it be, Lord, you created us in your image. And I pray, Lord, for every person watching, every person that has joined us today, Lord, I pray now that we start, as Overcomer 21 has just said, thanks, Pastor Andy, I have to start doing something about this. And I thank you, Lord, that even if it reaches a handful of people, that we can just do something. Then I pray, Lord, help us with it. And Lord, I just know that if people have got problems out there, if you've got problems in your legs or whatever, you can still work on the upper body. There isn't anything you can't do. And we just pray for this right now, Lord. And I pray for everybody joining me on this exercise and on this journey. Lord, make us accountable to each other in love. And Lord, if we slip, then let's pick one another up. But Lord, I want to stand before you as fit as a fiddle for your return, that I have done everything in my power to maintain and to build. And I pray for every person now listening and watching. Help us, Lord. Help us here in the West. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. So God bless you. And I'm just going to ask Heidi to come up and just tell you a little bit more about... Oh, okay, I'll do it. Again, for those people that didn't join us at the beginning, every year our friends in Uganda, where Heidi and I went out there with the Indonesians, a number of times we went out there for orphans and do mission and all this sort of stuff out in Uganda. We had a good relationship with Pastor Mark and his community. It's a church outside Kampala. They work in a real downtrodden area. They haven't got enough to eat. We've got too much, they haven't got enough. And so every year what they try and do is, as a church, they do that through the year, their congregation is poor. So if they have to raise up £2,000, they have to start at the beginning of the year and go 12 months. They haven't raised enough. So they've asked us whether we could, bring that amount up. And so I'm asking you, if you feel that this is right for you, you want to sow into this, please do a contribution and mark it in Uganda. And then we will send out the money to them so they can make up packages and food, and they give it out to 100 families. So it will feed them, the families, for a month. So they build maize, they've got porridge, bananas. They just put out, so people have to come on their bikes and load up a push bike, and then push it back home. It's life-changing. It's life-changing for some of these people. They haven't got enough sanitary stuff. So sanitary, bars of soap, shampoo go in, sugar goes in because they need sugar. They haven't got enough energy. So they have the simple carbohydrate of sugar. They get a certain amount of coffee or tea or whatever. And Pastor Mark and their thing, they have 100 families that desperately need it. If they can't get to the church, they go out to them. It's also a tool to show the love of God on people that don't know him. So we've been supporting this every year for I don't know how long. So also, folks, if you are serious about this getting fit, then let me know. And we'll film next week's exercises of 8 or 9 of us doing it. Then we'll show you the exercises and you can do them at home. Okay, you can watch a fat man run. You can watch this man run, fat boy run. So, yes. So we need $2,500 to raise for this week. So if you do feel that you want to put in, put in some money, then that'd be great. We'll just send out what we get, and to as many families to reach that as a love gift, really. Sorry? Yes, this week. Yeah, we only got the email yesterday, but we knew it was coming. So we will hopefully get it out to them for Christmas, New Year, just after Christmas. Doesn't really matter. So I've got Penelope saying yes, please, to the video. So maybe to save, but no, we'll do it. We'll do it. But I know Karen's going, oh no, we'll do it. We'll make it fun. No, you look good on the plank. You look good on the plank. Just for that one, hold it. But it's really simple, folks. With 4 minutes rest, you are working 3 minutes on 6 times. 3 minutes on 1 minute rest and recovery. And you do that 6 times over these. It's doable. 4 times a week. So there you go. God bless you. Thank you for listening. And next week we will have it still. It's the Christmas Eve. We're going to have a bring and share here. I'm going to share a message that I really wanted to bring today, but didn't feel to bring. And it's got some relevance on world affairs at the moment. So it's Ezekiel 38 and 39. Have a look at it. That's what I'm going to be talking on next week, Ezekiel 38 and 39. And we've got some friends, yeah, we've got that join us on Zoom. They're going to travel. But, if you can't make it next week, I will do the video. We'll do it next Saturday. We'll set it up and we'll film it. And maybe somebody just follows me around. I'll have to look good, trim up, but wear my skimpy, my tight fit. No. I took my top off because it's hot up here. I took my top off, and poor old Jojo didn't, Caroline didn't know where to look because there was my belly showing. Anyway, that's just part of it. Anyway.